Hey everybody, CanadianOperator here, and today we're going to be looking at some MLOK to Picatinny rail quick release adapters from Kinetic Development Group. I first saw these on my Discord, and one of our users brought it to my attention. I thought they were really cool. I kind of did a little bit of digging on trying to figure out where they came from. Turns out they're made in the US by a place called Kinetic Development Group. Great bunch of guys. Got in touch with them and let them know about the channel, and they were kind enough to send me a few of their products out for review. Before we go any further, while this is somewhat of a sponsored video in the sense that I've got some items here for free to review, there is absolutely no money changing hands, and they're not going to be able to see the video before you will. So my process will continue, as always, to stay open, transparent, and sincere. And you'll be able to find out at the end of the video whether these are worth your money. What these are is we've got a few. First of all, we've got their 3-slot MLOK adapter. This is an MLOK to PIC rail, and I'll show you a little bit of a close-up later on so you guys can see what they look like. We also have one here. This is going to be in FDE. Really cool. This one is 7 slots. And then one of my favorites that I think I'm going to be using a lot to get you guys some really cool shots in the future is going to be this right here, which is a GoPro adapter. So really cool. First impressions, they feel like they're actually made really well. Some of the packaging here says made in the US. I'm not sure if that's true for all of the items. I do believe so, since these guys are a manufacturing company. But that being said, let's go ahead and take them out of the packaging. We'll kind of play around with them a little bit, have a closer look, and then we'll slap them on my Bison, which is just back there, and we'll see how they fit and whether I think they're worth your money. All right guys, so first things first, we're going to be taking a look at this guy. This is their little 3-slot adapter. Really cool. Let's go ahead and get a little closer here so you guys can see what this actually looks like. So you have your Picatinny rails right here, and as you can see, that is going to be 3 slots, and on the other side you've got MLOK, right? Typical MLOK, very common to a lot of us who use both Picatinny and MLOK adapters. But what's really cool about these is you have these buttons. You got one button on this side, and you have another button on this side here. So what you do is whatever you have on your PIC rail, you can actually just use these 2 buttons right here. So if I can get you a better angle, there we go, right? You push these in, and these are going to be spring loaded. Now once they're in, that's going to allow you to put this into the MLOK slot on your firearm. Once you do that, there are 2 releases, one here and one there, and these little arms are going to pop out just like that, right? So that is going to hold whatever it is you have on your PIC rail side onto your firearm. So let's go ahead and grab the Bison that's just behind me there. I've got some MLOK slots in that, and we'll see how well that works in practice. All right, fellas, so after fighting with this thing a little bit at the bench there for a few minutes in between takes, I finally got it on. We've got the Bison here, and before anybody says anything, we are nice and clear. All right, so there is absolutely nothing in there. Get some focus, and we have our quick release right there. So that is our quick release there. See if I can get a little bit closer for you so you can get a better look. And yeah, really nice little piece of kit. It's definitely on there super solid right now, but it took forever for me to get that on there. It took a lot of force. Actually, I had to just use my entire palm and literally just choke it on there. And so the way that I'm thinking about this is, you know, from the point of practicality, it'd just be really hard for me to do that if there was something already on there, which there's not right now. And if I wanted to do that every time I wanted to take an accessory off of this firearm and put it on another firearm, to be honest, I think that would take me more time trying to struggle with it than what this is supposed to provide in convenience. So unfortunately, the small one, not a huge fan of it. I feel like it could be a little bit more refined in terms of the way that you can put it on and take it off. Now, I understand completely that the convenience here comes from the fact that you can put this on quickly and take it off quickly, but at the same time, because it's a quick release mount, it does need to be stable, and you do need to make sure that you're not going to be able to, you know, remove that easily. And again, once it's on there, it is absolutely rock solid, but getting it on and taking it off is really rough. At least it was for me. Again, I'm not sure if it's just my firearm here or if it's the actual product itself, but that's the experience that I had. So let's go ahead and open up the FDE 7-slot mount and see how that works, and then we'll move on to the GoPro mount. All right, fellas, so this time around we have got the 7 slot in here, and let me get a little closer to the camera here so I can show you exactly what that looks like. So there we go. That is your 7 slot, and what I like about this, aside from the fact that it's an FDE, is that you do definitely have a lot more real estate here. Now that is going to cost a little bit more real estate as well, because on the other side, as you can see there, we have got 2 MLOK slots as opposed to 1 that was found on the 3 slot version. And of course we still have the same exact design here. We have the buttons on the far side there. So these are already pushed in. This is ready to go on the gun. So let me go ahead and grab the Bison from behind me, and we'll see if we fare a little bit better with this one. And I've got the Bison here, and of course we're not going to be using this slot over here because that one is closed, as you can see, but we do have an open slot right there and right there. So let me try to get this in a way that's going to make sense. And again, both the buttons are pushed in. So we're going to go ahead and just put in one side and give it a click, and then the other, and hey, look at that. Beautiful. Now that seems like it's pretty rock solid in there, and it is. That looks really, really nice. Now obviously the OD green and the FDE don't exactly go together that well, but that's just color. It's not a big deal. The fact is that I was able to get this thing on, and guess what? I can take it off without power tools or vice grips. So much, much better this time around. I actually do like the 7 slot a lot more. If I can get that to focus, there we go. I like it quite a bit more than the 3 slot. I think it is definitely a lot better because it seems to give you a lot more leverage. I'm going to go ahead and put this down though because it's quite heavy, and we're going to go grab the next mount, which is going to be our GoPro mount. That's the one that I'm excited for the most. All right, guys, so last but not least, let's go ahead and talk about this little guy here. This is going to be your GoPro adapter. I'm going to get a little closer here to the camera just to show you what that looks like. So there you go. That is going to be one side of it, and it's pretty plain looking, but it definitely does the job. And then on the other side, we've got that. We've got a little silver piece over here. That's going to be your thread, and then you're going to be putting your screw through here in order to attach your GoPro in here at the top, okay? So your GoPro is going to mount through here, and then that little screw, whether it's going to be a thumb screw or just a regular screw, is going to go through there. I'm going to be using just a regular screw because I want that in there kind of permanently, but it'll be up to you how you set it up. Now on the bottom here, of course, as always, we have the MLOK slots, and this is going to be taking up 1 MLOK slot, just like the 3 slot QR to Picatinny adapter that we looked at the beginning of the video. And of course, as always, we do also have those buttons. You can see there's one there, and then you can see another one on the other side right there. So the only thing that I'm a little concerned about this is that it's going to be very similar to that of the 3 slot adapter, meaning that because this is really, really small, you're going to need a lot of force and a lot of effort to push this in. Now, thankfully, I've already done a little bit of work and was able to have an easier time with this than I did with the 3 slot adapter. But let me go ahead and grab the Bison for a third time and see how we can get it fit in there. Now, I tried both off camera. I tried getting this in just by itself, and I tried putting it on the gun with the GoPro already attached. I actually found that it's a lot easier to do it without the GoPro attached, and then you just attach the GoPro after the fact. And in a way that works as well. It does kind of diminish the fact that this is supposed to be a quick release adapter. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and grab the Bison and see if we can make it work. All right, so we finally got the GoPro installed here, and let me just show you what that looks like. It actually looks really, really cool. If I can get a better view from this side, there we go. So as you can see, it's on there, and it's actually facing me. It's facing this way. So if we're, taking a shot, for example, you're going to be able to see my face, my reaction. You're going to be able to see me racking that bolt, and I think that is actually going to be really, really cool for future videos. Now that being said, of course, there's a ton of GoPro accessories out there as well. So if you want to get an arm or something else to kind of customize the way that your GoPro sits on that mount, you can absolutely do that. But having it just mounted there, and you know what? It actually comes off. Like, check that out, guys. It just comes off, which is actually really, really cool. This is probably the best thing out of everything that I've tested today, but let me go ahead and put this down because it's kind of heavy, and we'll talk about whether any of these items are worth your money and whether you should pick them up. All right, so a quick little recap here. First and foremost, we had this. This was the little 3-slot adapter. And to be honest with you, I'm not really a huge fan of this one. And that's not to say that it's not made well or that it doesn't have a lot of strength or any of those other things. It's actually made exceptionally well. The tolerances are exceptionally tight. And it's very light, being aluminum, and once it's on there really, really good. So whatever you have attached to it, whether it's a vertical grip or an angled grip or maybe some other kind of accessory like a light, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. The problem that I had with it personally is because it was very, very small, so there was a lot of difficulty in getting the right amount of pressure to mount it properly and to take it off. In fact, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I needed to use vice grips to get that thing off of my gun. And in my opinion, if you have to go through those kinds of lengths to get a quick release adapter off your firearm, it's not really a quick release adapter, right? But thankfully, much better news about this guy right here. This is the 7-slot adapter. Now, the color doesn't really matter to me. I like black or FDE. I think they both look really cool. But the fact that this one is just so much larger, you've got 2 MLOK slots on here, which for some people, if you don't have a lot of real estate on your firearm, might be a little bit of a downside. But to be honest, I really prefer that because it gives you so much more stability and you have a larger piece of metal, which means you have a little bit more leverage getting that thing attached. Now again, I say leverage, I'm not 100% sure if the tolerances are just a little bit looser on the bigger one than the smaller one, or if it's just my particular units. I don't know. I can just tell you what my experience is. I really did like the larger one quite a bit. And of course, you do have a lot more real estate on the outside of that adapter as well, because you can mount things a little closer, a little further. So if you do only have 2 MLOKs that you can use, at least you have a little bit of leeway in where you can put that flashlight, laser, or other accessory. Now, my favorite of the whole bunch has definitely got to be this GoPro mount here. This thing is absolutely awesome. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer here for you. And a little bit closer yet. There we go, right? So that is attached to my little 90-degree mount here. And man, this thing is amazing. For me as a content creator, it's actually really dope because I'm gonna be able to use this in so many future shots to get really creative and bring you guys angles that you've never seen before. And I'm sure that you're gonna be able to do the same thing with this. Now, what's funny is it is about the same size as the 3-slot adapter, but it just fits and it works and it clicks in. Yes, you need a little bit more pressure than the 7-slot, but it absolutely works. And again, once it's in there, it's in there. So I know I've been a little bit critical here, but I'm coming at this from a consumer experience. You know, what would I feel if I had spent money on this stuff and wanted to use it for whatever purposes I had in mind? And generally speaking, I gotta say I'm really happy. First of all, the guys at Kinetic Development were very kind and just very nice. They answered my questions and they emailed me very quickly. So from a company standpoint, it was actually really easy to deal with them. And I didn't deal with anybody specific in terms of, you know, I didn't go straight to the top. I used the email that anybody would use to get in touch with them. And they were very nice. Now, the products themselves, again, very good quality. It looks like the machining quality was absolutely excellent. There was, you know, it was completely spotless. One of the ones that I got, I think they told me that it had a little blemish or something, but I couldn't find anything at all. It just, they look amazing. They feel awesome. The angles, the cuts, everything is right. The tolerance is, again, super tight. When you get them in the MLOK slots, they just stay there. There is no wiggle whatsoever. And they just feel really nice. Now, the one downside that I need to mention is that I do really wish that working with the smaller slots was a little bit easier. The little ones, the 3-slot adapter from MLOK to Picatinny. In my personal experience, that little tiny one, I don't like it as much. And the reason for that is just because I feel like, one, you need a little bit too much leverage or too much power to put it in and then to take it out. And again, it could be just my particular model that I got and yours might be absolutely perfectly fine. But again, I can only speak to my experience, right? And so my recommendation might be, you have a 7 slot. Why not go with like a 5 slot? Maybe that's going to be a little bit better in terms of maybe getting it in there. Potentially, you could still use only one MLOK slot, but you're going to have a little bit more real estate on the other side of it as well when you're mounting different accessories, and potentially going to be a little bit easier to take out. I am not any kind of designer or developer or manufacturer, so I don't know. Again, this is just coming from a consumer point of view. Now, as for the 7 slot, absolutely amazing. I love the color. The FDE actually looks chef's kiss. It is on point. Again, extremely well manufactured, just like the first one, the 3 slot one there. But I felt like I could get that on and take it off without much of a fuss, which, I mean, guys, that's the whole idea behind it, right? So I really like that one. And then when I moved on to the quick release for my GoPro, I loved it. It's just so awesome, especially if you pair it with the absolute thousands of different kinds of accessories that you can get out there, probably on Amazon and other places for your GoPro. Put that on there with this QR mount, and then you can take your GoPro with you and put it on all of your guns that have MLOK. Brilliant design, absolutely love it. Overall, I'd say I'd give the products in general about I don't know, let's say a solid, really solid 8 out of 10. And this is just a cumulative experience in terms of dealing with the pros, the cons, and kind of my own personal experience. So that being said, very, very well done. I would absolutely recommend these if you'd like some nice quick release slots. I would recommend going with some of the bigger ones, but again, that little one, that could have been just a one-off, and it could have been maybe a slight tolerance difference. Maybe that's all it was. So it's really hard to say. I had a very limited sample size, but that being said, overall, yeah, I would recommend it. I think they're good products. They're well made. They got shipped pretty fast, even though I'm in Canada, and the guys behind it are super, super nice. And I have no reason to believe that they wouldn't take care of you if you had any issues whatsoever, which I don't imagine that you would. That being said, though, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. I don't get anything out of this, but I am going to link the products down below if you want to go check them out. Again, an absolute huge thanks to the guys at Kinetic Development Group for sending them over and working with the channel. I really appreciated the opportunity to do an in-depth review and take a look at them. I will be using them throughout my journey in videography and firearms, and looking forward to bringing you guys some more awesome footage using those quick release adapters. That being said, please, as always, do the usual stuff. Make sure to like and share the video if you found it helpful. It helps the channel tremendously. And of course, if you have the means, please consider buying me a cup of coffee or a beer, your choice, using the super thanks button down below and checking out our merch link, which will be down in the description, as will our Discord link if you want to come and continue the conversation after the video. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I very, very much appreciate your time. I hope to see you in the next video. And until then, happy shooting.